no promotion this side of the ocean. So cheer up, my lads, bless them all.
Bless them all, bless them all, the long and the short and the tall. Bless all the sergeants and WO1s, bless all the corporals and their big sons, as we're saying goodbye to them all. As back to their billets they crawl. You'll get no promotion this side of the ocean, so cheer up, my lads, bless them all.
They say if you work hard you'll get better pay. We've heard it all before. So clean up your buttons and polish your boots. Scrub out the barrack room floor. There's many a rookie has taken it in. Hook, line and sinker all. You'll get no promotion this side of the ocean. So cheer up, my lads, bless them all.
Bless them all, bless them all, the long and the short and the tall. Bless all the sergeants and WO1s, bless all the corporals and their blinking sons, 'cause we're saying goodbye to them all. As back to their billets they crawl. You'll get no promotion this side of the ocean, so cheer up, my lads, bless them all.
All together now.
Bless them all, the long and the short and the tall. Bless all the sergeants and WO1s, bless all the corporals and their blinking sons, 'cause we're saying goodbye to them all. As back to their billets they crawl. You'll get no promotion this side of the ocean, so cheer up, my lads, bless them all.
Yes, the security van arrives with the tuck shop goodies at 11:30 every Tuesday morning.
No, you bully. The math homework, what missed you have to do?
Sort of.
What do you mean, sort of?
Well, I wrote my name at the top of the paper.
You can vote honestly.
I did better last week. Dad said I spelt it right this time.
Absolutely 100 million times worse than the worst person at maths in the whole world.
No, universe, you mean?
Yeah. So you're probably the worstest in the class.
I can't be. I can count to 10.
Only on your fingers.
Ah, cool, you're there, smarty pants. I don't need my fingers. In fact, I think I can even count up to 11 without using my fingers.
Only in a bath, I bet. Well, she's in a bath without using her fingers.
Do you mean that she can count to 12 in the bath without her fingers, or she can count to 12 without using her fingers in the bath?
Shut up, Jimbo. You asked her.
No, Dimbo can do it.
Swatty ought to do it. She is a girl, isn't she?
Don't you know the difference then?
Of course I do.
Go on then, what is it?
She can't play cricket, can she? Go on, Swatty, you ask her.
My name's Swatty, he's Dimbo, and this one's Vicky. What's your name? Pandora.
Pandora!
What's your nickname, we mean? I haven't got one. Must have a nickname. What do you think, Dimbo?
How about Spotty?
I haven't got any spots.
You don't have to have spots to be called Spotty.
With Vicky, it was just a lucky coincidence.
How about wingnut?
What do you mean, wingnut?
Oh, look at the size of your ears.
That's enough, Vicky. Too cruel. True, but cruel. How about smelly?
That's what we all call you.
How about the new girl with the big...
You boys are so rude. I know what you're used. What is it?
Nosy. She's a teacher's pet, you know.
No, I'm not. Is she really?
Of course she is.
I wouldn't want to be teacher's pet.
What is that?
Why would you want to go home and live with a teacher in a cage?
Swatty's got a really nice pair, you know.
How can you be so uncouth?
Well, easy really. Would you like me to teach you?
Anyway, what are you talking about?
You know, you're talking about thingies.
Thingies? Is that what you call them where you come from?
Well, yes, in your company anyway.
Oh, we call them conkers. She's a school conker champion today.
So is it?
What? Is he always like this?
Nah, sometimes he's rude and horrid.
He can't be worse than this, surely.
Yes, he can. And don't call me Shirley.
But he wants to see my knickers.
Don't worry. He only wants to know if the elastic will work on his satisfied.
You want some chewing gum?
Yes, please.
Hang on, I've got a bit stuck under my desk.
Don't disgusting. It's been out this week. Yeah.
And this bit, I only started it yesterday. On second thought, it might spoil my dinner.
What was your last school like?
It was very strict.
Oh, I know all about schools like that. They check to see if you turn up every single day.
Could you take a pet mice to school?
You haven't got a mouse, have you?
No, but if you hate them that much, I'll bring one in tomorrow.
Where do you live?
A long, long way away, about halfway to the moon, I think.
God do! I live there, and I've never seen her.
How do you get home after school?
My mummy and daddy both work, so they go to fetch me. At the end of school, the teacher calls me a taxi.
Well, you're our friend now, so we'll do it for you. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Could you really?
Oh, yeah.
You're a taxi!
Of all the ladies Sally. She is the darling of my heart, and lives in our alley. Of all the days within the week, I dearly love but one day, and that's the day that comes betwixt a Saturday and Monday. Oh, then I'm dressed all in my best to walk abroad with Sally. She is the darling of my heart, and lives in our alley. My master and the neighbors all make game of me and Sally, and but for her I'd rather be a slave and row a galley. But when my 7 long years are out, oh, then I'll marry Sally, and then how happily we'll live, but not in our alley. Let's say goodbye with a smile, dear, just for a while, dear, we must part. Don't let the parting upset you, I won't forget you, sweetheart.
Basil asked Bert.
I can't tell, love.
You can tell me, Bert, I'm your wife.
No, I'm not sure.
Can't you make a guess?
Not for another couple of hours, probably.
You mean you can't make a guess for another couple of hours?
Why do you do this to me? Go to church every Christmas.
Hello, mate. Oh, it's another ballad tonight, isn't it? By the way, this is my lovely wife, Flossie. My name's George, and the little tyke who's just shot down 3 Fokker wolves.
Please, hey, there's women and children about.
Hey? No, German fighter planes, Fokker wolves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, the little tyke who just shot down 3 hindquarters in his Spitfire. It's our boy Peter.
There you all. This is me, Mrs. Sylvie. Title in the legs of the spider is our little Judith, and my name's Bert. Judith, say hello to Peter.
Hello, Peter.
Come on, Peter, say hello to Judith.
Oh, but do I have to, Dad?
Of course you do, come on, dude.
Why not you, Dad? Oh, but Dad, it can't be the her. She's a girl.
You don't matter.
Oh, all right then. Hello.
There must be hundreds of planes up there tonight.
I think you're right and no mistake.
Still, if we're lucky to hit after the football ground and do us all a favour.
We had really bad luck. We just got back from St George's Brother in Birmingham when this lot started.
And we had a really tough journey.
Bomb damage was there or bad traffic?
And no, it was a long walk.
Bert, why is it every time there's an air raid, even on a platform as big as this, the loonies come and sit next to us?
Sounds like the bombs were falling right on top of us. I'm so scared. How should you put up with it?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realise. You must be really nervous.
Yeah, I am.
Is it the first time?
Nah, I've been nervous loads of times.
I say.
Oh, blimey, all right then. What do you say?
Why did the chicken cross the road?
That's easy peasy, because I wanted to get to the other side.
Ha! True then.
What's true then?
You knew the answer. You think like a chicken.
Nah.
I heard your dad say you had a foul mind.
Hey, that's not fair. And to be frank,
Oh, Frank, how was it Petey Weetie? What's she called on Tuesdays?
tough girl.
We was dead lucky last week. On Thursday there was that small raid. Me and the family were out having a walk on Hackney Marshes and we got stupid.
Oh, I can imagine. Walking makes me tired as well.
Hey, Flossie, what do you think of old Miss Linter then?
Well, isn't he running the 9:30 at Catford?
Eh?
Yes, I backed him last week at 20 to 1.
Did you win anything?
Nah, he didn't come into 20 past 4. I wish they'd give us some news. I can't stand not knowing. Someone must know what's going on up there.
Oh, they do, but it don't help.
Well, why not? Why don't they tell us?
Well, they do, but they use the platform intercom, you see.
So, that's good, isn't it?
Well, it should be, but the problem is with the bloke what operates it. On a normal day, he works as a timetable announcer at Waterloo.
Well, I can speak a little
And
Swahili.
you're probably in with a better chance than the rest of us.
Help! Help! There's been a big explosion! We must get some people to hospital!
Hospital, what is it?
It's a big place, they take sick people. But that's not affordable! Oh, forget it!
Last week we had a clear out. See if there was anything we could donate to the war effort. I was cleaning out the attic with the wife. Filthy, dirty, covered in cobwebs. But she's all right with the children.
It's hard to make ends meet with this war on, isn't it?
Very sad but true, nevertheless. I can't get close to anyone. Well, not unless I go to the church hall and look for the second-hand stuff. Mind you, some of it's good quality. But it's not like getting new clothes, is it?
I know exactly what you mean.
I don't mind so much for me and Bert, but Judy hasn't had anything new since the war started. It doesn't seem fair.
I miss the Sunday roast of all the trimmings. I think that's what gets me. Food rationing. See, I grew up on a farm and we always had loads to eat.
That can't make it any easier.
Yeah, well, we will have to make do, don't we? I'll tell you a secret, though. Me and George have been a bit sharp.
How's that then?
Well, we've been using my mum and dad's ration books as well as our own.
What do they use then?
Nothing. They were killed in a raid last year.
Nothing, they were killed in a raid last year.
I'm terribly sorry. That must have been a shock.
Not half as much of a shock as it would have been if they'd lived. I mean, not many people survive a picnic on a 6-foot square rug when a £1,000 bomb lands on the pickled onions. Hey Bert, I'll tell you something interesting.
Yeah, that'll be the first time.
Me and the wife, me and Flossie, we bought a greyhound recently.
Are you going to race it? Wait for it.
Well, I'm game, but I think it's got the legs on Floss.
Just in case Peter is anything like his father, see if you can push him under the next train.
Really, Dad?
No. Yeah.
We were in the East End during that firestorm last year after the Germans' first big raid on London.
Really? That must have been really awful.
Oh, it was. It was the worst experience of our lives.
How bad was it? Can you give me an impression?
Sorry, George, don't do impressions. I'm a nurse.
I'll tell you what, it's just deja vu. Last night the siren didn't go.
Well, it's been very nice meeting you.
Yeah, we must get together next time, eh?
No.
Bye.
Never again, Bert. Please.
Well, next time we'll take our chance on acting nice and go and have a picnic.
By the old Bull Main Pagoda, looking eastward to the sea, there's a Burma girl that's sitting, and I know she thinks of me. For the wind is in the palm trees, and the temple bells they say, come you back, you British soldier. Come you back to Mandalay. Come you back to Mandalay. Come you back to Mandalay, where the old flotilla lay. Can't you hear the paddles chunking from Rangoon to Mandalay? On the road to Mandalay, where the flying fishes play, and the dawn comes up like thunder out of China, cross to the bay. Somewhere east of Suez, where the best is like the worst, and there ain't no 10 commandments, and a man can raise a thirst. For the temple bells are calling, and it's there that I would be, by the old Bull Main Pagoda, looking lazy at the sea, looking lazy at the sea. On the road to Mandalay, where the old flotilla lay, can't you hear the paddles chunking from Rangoon to Mandalay? On the road
All right.
Right?
You're on. You're it, Chris. Oh.
Lantern is a lantern by the brother gates. Darling, I remember the way you used to wait. Whispers that you whispered tenderly, that you loved me, you'd always be my lily of the land, like my own lily. Time would come for roll call, time for us to part. Darling, I'd caress you and press you to my heart. And then neath that far-off lantern light, I'd hold you tight, we'd kiss goodnight. My lily of the lamplight, my own Lily Marlene. Orders came for sailing somewhere off the sea. Going to barracks was more than I could bear. And knew you were waiting in the street. I heard your feet. Light, my own Lily Sitting in the village just behind the line. Even though we're parted, your lips are close to mine. Embrace where the water softly cleans. Your sweet face seems to haunt my dreams.
Double it way.
My own Lily Marlene.
I wonder who she is. I wonder what he does for a living. He's a bit scrawny, isn't he? Look at the size of his ears. If I tied a string round his neck and took him out on a windy day, I could use him as a kite.
Where might she be going? To be reunited with her family, perhaps?
He might be an international jewel thief on the run from Scotland Yard.
She might be visiting relatives. She doesn't look like she's ever had to work. I expect she's got 2 or 3 children, and her husband is a professional man called Basil. Basil Crumpington Jones.
No, he's not the jewel thief type. More like a petty thief. Perhaps he's a mass murderer. Oh no, what am I going to do alone in a carriage with a mass murderer? No, wait a minute. I'm okay. I'm not a Catholic.
Actually, she does look a bit domineering. I expect she gives her husband a bit of a stick. Looks rather snooty at close inspection. I'm glad she's not my wife.
Perhaps he's not the thief or murderer type. A dentist, conceivably. Yes, a dentist. I'm sure I saw the glint in his eye that only dentists have, just prior to issuing their favourite fib. This won't hurt at all. Then they plunge the drill into your aching molar, insisting this won't take long, while taking a sideways glance at their calendars. Alternatively, he may be a vicar. No, this silly woman.
She might be a doctor's wife. Yes, a doctor's wife. I hate doctors. I remember going to see mine when I hurt my arm. He ordered me to sit down. Then, without a shred of sympathy, asked me why I was wasting his valuable time. I lifted my arm and said, "It hurts when I do this." And he said, "Well, don't do it then." Yes, a doctor's wife. She's just the type. Good grief! She's a mad woman! She must have been drinking. I'm not safe! Oh, why didn't I go first class?
I thought I was a good judge of character as well. He didn't look that type. Honestly, who does he think he is? If he tries that again, I'll swat him. That's put him in his place. Impudent scoundrel.
Ah, the station at last.
Oh, thank goodness. That was an unusual trip. Oh, thank goodness that trip's over. These seats are so hard. I think my bottom went to sleep.
I know. I heard it snoring.
Smile, smile, smile.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the first half of our show. There will be ice creams and things for sale in the foyer. The bar is open to spawn, and I believe we've got 20 minutes. Thank you very much.
I can do this all right. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Good evening. To continue with our spectacular summer soiree, I would like to now represent for your sorry madam, what's the word? For your titillation, our creative cast presenting some London sketches. You are all invited to join in all the choruses. We begin down at the old Bull and Bush.
Come and make eyes at me down at the old Bull and Bush. Come, drink some more wine with me down at the old Bull and Bush. Here, little German man, just let me hold your hand, dear. Come and have a drink or two down at the old Bull and Bush, Bush, Bush. Come and make eyes at me down at the old Bull and Bush. Come, drink some more wine with me down at the old Bull and Bush. Here, little German man, just let me hold your hand, dear. Come and have a drink or two down at the old Bull and Bush, Bush, Bush.
Ladies and gentlemen, all is not a garden of roses in London, as you will now experience. Next is a tear-jerking, tragic tale. A sad, sorrowful sketch, which will bring tears to your eyes. I invite you to join us down at the poorhouse. In a minute, I'll invite you to join us.
2 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the poorhouse.
We got here earlier, we'd have got a seat like that.
It's no loss though. I don't like them things anyhow. Hanging on a rope's much better for your piles.
Got piled.
There you go then. Not like the old days, is it?
Huh? What are you rambling on about now?
This used to be a men-only rope. I don't like it. Next thing you know, they'll be chaining themselves to a fence and demanding the right to vote.
Never, not as long as my name is Herbert Tompkins.
But it's not.
Oh dear.
Over the kitchen table,
Tom?
on the rug in front of the fire,
Tom, I was going to say...
in the bar.
Tom, what I was going to say is...
Hey, Why don't he do it on the bed?
Good grief! All right, we all want to know, why don't you do it on the bed?
Well, first off, he sleeps there, stupid.
All right, so he sleeps there.
But why won't he do it?
I've got some control over it, you know. I won't allow it.
Hey?
Well, would you let it if it was your dog?
Did she say dog?
No, did she say dog?
Did you say dog?
I said dog, why?
Oh, nothing.
The sooner my master has it house trained, the better. Do I look old and tired to you, Mary?
No, Lizzie, no. You probably do to everyone else, though. But I'm your friend, aren't I?
I sometimes think life's not worth living.
Oh, Lizzie, do you mustn't say that.
Oh, yes, I do. You know, I sometimes wish I was back in my first life.
What are you talking about? Perhaps the work has got to you.
No, Mary, you don't understand. I have lived before.
Please, Lizzie, calm down. This sounds daft. Someone might hear you and you'll be off to the asylum. And the only way out of there is to become a politician.
Good thing too.
No, Mary, I've had another life before this one. It was a very hard life. I've had nightmares about it. But I never thought that I'd think of a better life than this one, however horrible it became. But it has, I tell you, Mary.
Well, what was so horrible then? What did you used to be?
I was a Roman galley slave.
How do you know?
Well, my back aches.
I'm going to get my own seat one day. I've had enough of hanging on this.
How are you going to do that on your wages then? 2 farthings a month, less tax of course. Don't go very far, is it?
Well, I've been saving up. For the last 20 years, I've been putting a little bit by each month. And if I sold my spot on the road as well, I should have nearly 4 shillings. Then I'd be able to buy any of those seats.
Never, you're dreaming again. Anyhow, you'll never sell your space on the rope. Mark's too depressed just now. Nobody's buying.
Yes, I will. My dear mother said to me, Archie, put your money in property, and that's something I've never forgotten.
No, that's a lie.
Hey?
You never knew who your mother was.
Rubbish! Of course I did. My father, I didn't know.
Oh, sorry, Archie. But you still won't sell it.
Oh, yes, I will. Actually, it's on the market already.
Never. What highwayman's doing that for you?
Highwayman Tom, this is 1892. They're called estate agents now.
They still take all your money though, don't they?
Yeah, but at least they do it all legal, like.
But how do you get to know an estate agent man then?
Oh, well, I had a bit of luck there. I met an old friend of mine the other day from when I was just a child labourer in a sock factory. He tripped over the other day when I was lying in the gutter. Apparently, he'd worked his way through the stock department, then all the way up ladies' stockings. Well, at least that was a rumour. And then straight into management.
And he's sent it for you, is he? How does he describe it?
Very nicely, thank you. So nicely, in fact, when I first saw it, I nearly bought it myself. Character dwelling with an interesting history. Sound roof, ensuite toilet.
What's an ensuite toilet?
Well, it's a bucket. Suitable for somebody who mixes well, close to the station.
Oh, but what about the noise of the trains?
Well, it don't matter, do it? It's ideal for commuting, isn't it?
You're daft.
Have you ever been married, Mary?
I was. I buried my husband 2 years ago.
I'm sorry, you must have been very sad.
Sad? It was always sad or what? I stood by his grave for 2 hours and it rained the whole time.
I don't understand. The service don't take that long. Why did you stay by his grave if it was raining?
I wanted to make sure he didn't escape.
I still don't get it.
Neither do I anymore.
I'm sorry.
Not as sorry as I am.
No, I mean, what did he die of? Smallpox, bubonic plague, cholera, fight?
No, actually, it was suffocation.
How did he die of suffocation?
He couldn't get out of the coffin. Well, I suppose he was as good at it, because I stuck the lid down with a whole box full of 6-inch nails.
You choked him to death? Why?
Well, I tried everything else. Poisoning, stabbing, drowning, throttling. I even put him on the mailing list of the Reader's Digest.
What did you do it?
He couldn't satisfy me.
Good grief.
Mary, dare I ask you, why couldn't he satisfy you?
Well, I wanted lots of money, and he didn't have any.
Oh, and I suppose that makes it all right then, does it?
How much money have you got on your tongue?
Nothing, Archie. Have you got any?
Well, not on me. If he smiles at you, you watch it back.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a bit dark in here. I said it is a bit dark in here. Ladies and gentlemen, we raise the tone now. For your delectation, we present a scintillating, sparkling spectacle, a radiant, rumbustious, rhythmic rendition of a darling little ditty, presented at no thought to cost by two amazingly admirable, awesomely articulate artists, giving to you a transport of delight, better known as London Omnibus.
Some talk of Lagonda, some like a smart MG, all for money on little lorry, they lay them moon and dee. Such means of locomotion seem rather dull to us. The driver and conductor of a London omnibus. Hold very tightly, ting ting, hold very tightly, ting ting. When you are lost in London and you don't know where you are, you'll hear my voice a-calling, pass further down the car. And very soon you'll find yourself inside the terminus in a London Transport diesel engine, 97 horsepower omnibus. Along the Queen's Great Highway I drive my merry load at 20 miles an hour in the middle of the road. We like to drive in convoys, we're most gregarious. A big six-wheeler scarlet painted London Transport diesel engine, 97 horsepower omnibus. Earth has not anything to show more fair. Mind the stairs, mind the stairs. Earth has not anything to show more fair. Any more fair, any more fair. When cabbies try to pass me before they overtakes, I sticks my flipping hand out and jams on all the brakes. Them jackal taxi drivers can only swear and cuss. Behind that monarch on the road, observer of the highway code, that big six-wheeler scarlet painted London Transport diesel engine, 97 horsepower omnibus. I stops when I'm requested, although it spoils the ride, so he can shout, get out of it, we're full right up inside. We don't ask much for wages, we only want fair shares, so cut down all the stages and stick up all the fares. If tickets cost £1 a piece, why should you make a fuss? It's worth it just to ride inside that 30-foot long by 6-foot
While inside that monarch of the road, observer of the highway code, that big six-wheeler, scarlet painted London Transport diesel engine, 97 horsepower. 97 horsepower. Omnibus. The waiter is London Bus.
Altering ambience again, you will now be astounded and astonished, amused and amazed by the light-fingered, larcenous lads and lasses of the locality, endorsing their entrepreneurial eagerness and enthusiasm to enhance their earnings. I give you, you've got to pick a pocket or two.
In this life, one thing counts. In the bank, large amounts. I'm afraid these don't grow on trees. You've got to pick a pocket or two. You've got to pick a pocket or two. Boys, you've got to pick a pocket or two. Large amounts don't grow on trees. You've got to pick a pocket or two. Why should we break our backs stupidly paying tax? Better get some untaxed income. You've got to pick a pocket or two. You've got to pick a pocket or two. Why? You've got to pick a pocket or two. Why should we all break our backs? You've got to pick a pocket or two. Take a tip from the Sykes. He can whip what he likes. I recall he started small. He had to pick a pocket or two. You've got to pick a pocket or two. Boys, you've got to pick a pocket or two. We can be like obvious ones. If we pick a pocket or two.
Now, we are pleased to introduce two friendly old fogies. Fresh from their success with the Chippendales, we give you the bygone Brill-creamed Bartonian boys with their very own rendition of Underneath the Arches.
Underneath the arches, glitters away. Arches, on cobblestones I lay. Every night you'll find me tired out and worn, happy when the daylight comes creeping, heralding the dawn, sleepy when it's raining, and sleepy when it's fine. I hear the trains rattling by above. Pavement is my pillow, no matter where I stray. Underneath the arches, I'll dream my dreams away. I say,
Who was that lady I saw you with last night? That was no lady, that was your wife. Do you know my dog has no nose? No nose? How the hell does it smell? Pretty darn awful. Sleeping when it's raining and sleeping when it's fine. I hear the trains rattling by above. Pavement is my pillow, no matter where I stray. Underneath the arches, I dream my dreams away.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we raise the tone. I am now honored to introduce to you an amazing slice of culture, a veritable history lesson from a rather misunderstood little old lady. Your eyes will be opened by her great depth of feeling and understanding. May I ask you all to be upstanding as I present to you Her Majesty. Please be upstanding. Her Majesty, Queen Victoria.
Good evening, sir. An unsettled mood has descended on our country. Although it is due partly to the nationwide plague of diarrhea, it is caused primarily by the prevalent air of uncertainty pervading the entire civilized world. It is most likely that we are about to be plunged into war again. We haven't picked sides yet, but please remember that on our recent record we've always chosen the right team, so I urge you not to worry. Let me briefly recall some relevant background facts that I base this premise on. Starting just prior to my birth, our beloved neighbours, French, were at first allied with the Austrians and the Prussians. 10 years later, the Austrians got whopped by their erstwhile colleagues, and the Battle of Arm, while we were sinking both the French and the Spanish Navy at Trafalgar. Shortly after that, the Frogs occupied Spain. If that's the way they treated their allies when they came second, just try to imagine what they might have done to us if Nelson hadn't won. Confusing, isn't it? It gets better. 5 years later, the French got stuffed again and having a clash with the Austrians. Prussians and Russians. All at the same time. Can it really just be down to all the garlic they eat? And that annoying habit of using the street as a public lavatory? Of course, shortly after that, we gave them a real hiding at the Battle of Waterloo. Finally, they obviously learned their lesson because at the next big buck, Crimean War, they were on our side. Against the Russians who had previously been our allies. Fortunately, we were well out of America by then. Because the little bighorn, I had my money on General Custer. But only a year later, the Indians, as in Asian, not red, were showing me how sorry they were for their little mutiny by making me their empress. It wasn't fair taking on the Zulus when we had guns and they didn't. But they didn't play cricket then, did they? Mind you, they fought hard. It does appear that the next round might be in Africa again. Another away match. But if get my family treasures all those years ago. Damn French. Apparently, it seems that the boring Boers, descendants of those Dutch people with the silly accent, are very bored of making wooden shoes and want something else to do. Unfortunately, as the combined intelligence of their entire population is roughly equivalent to the IQ of a dead slug, having a war is the best they can come up with. A very, very, very dull people. No industrial revolution, nothing constructive. Still, don't be alarmed. As soon as we've kicked them up the backside a few times, they'll settle for making clocks again, and we can use them to decorate our mantelpieces. Won't that be nice? Now, I have decided to take this unprecedented step outside the normal rules of royal protocol to tighten the bond between my family and my peasant people. If you are here with your family tonight, take a brief pause and just think about the ones you love, wherever and whoever they may be with. I know I try. It's good for the soul. Only recently, when Prime Minister Disraeli paid his weekly visit to discuss matters of state, he asked me whether I missed Albert. Of course I did, I replied immediately. He was an amazing snog. Disraeli is quite a good Prime Minister, but a disaster at personal relationships. His attempts to attract women rarely work. Then his patter isn't up to much. Would you like to see my ministerial privileges? And I've got an amazing front bench. Like the latest touch of romantic snap. He's always talking about heavy, complicated subjects, budgets and law, and I once told him it went straight over my head. He replied, didn't have very high to go then, did it? I said, Tower Hill next Wednesday morning, 10:30, and you can sharpen the axe yourself. I wasn't serious, because occasionally he shows a flash of humour, and it amuses me temporarily. I do need amusing as well. Everything my dressmakers produce is black. It's not my choice, not as if I'm about to play rugby for New Zealand. It's my advisors, you see, they think it's good for my public image. That if I stand still, stay quiet, and open my mouth wide enough, I'm easily mistaken for a wheelie bin. I think I've mourned enough. I want to wear something fashionable. That's not unreasonable, is it? Dizzy, that's my pet name for Mr. Disraeli. He agrees with me too. For a start, he told me I wasn't big enough to play rugby for New Zealand, and anyway I had the wrong accent. He suggested Bruce Gingham might suit me, but although I applaud his support, I don't share his taste. He's colourblind, you see, and apparently the colours on his favourite smoking jacket are so ghastly you can spill a chicken middle all down his chest, but it won't show. Perhaps I should make him Governor of India. You know what I dread? No, of course you don't. You can't, can you? None of you have ever been a queen. Mind you, I've just suspicions about that one over there. Anyway, where was I? Here we go. Think what will happen after I die. Would you feel happy as you drift towards your final moment of life, knowing that the most lasting memorial to your existence are likely to be the parts that are named after you, the Queen Victoria, or even the Queen Vic? Can you imagine? Even now they are trying to name a museum after Albert and I. Do I look that old? Is that my image? Why can't they name a nightclub after me? Or a football team? Something snappy like Queen Victoria's Athletic Hotspurs United Academicals. My image is so dull that it doesn't reflect the real me. After all, it's been more than 5 years since I've been beaten in the Buckingham Palace Christmas roller derby. I can out-arm wrestle all the footmen and beat most of them at darts. Not many of them will play poker with me anymore because I'm too sharp. And I'm proud to say gives me wind. Surprised you have it. The other side of your monarch, the zany, devil-may-care personality, riding the roller coaster of life, the hip, upbeat chick who shoots the whitewater rapids without a life belt. I was a wild child before I reached 10. My favourite trip was slipping out of the palace and nipping round to the fish and chip emporium. Just before it closed, I would ask the man behind the counter if he had any chips left. And if he said yes, I would say, so you might be cooking too many, and then run out. Now is that exciting or what? It was one of those crazy stunts my parents had to get used to. After all, what else could you expect from a kid who counted cleaning out her sock drawer and racing snails as part of her over-the-top madcap lifestyle? So, now you know. I've shared your humble experiences. I know what life on the bread line is like. Only last week, there was no caviar at the breakfast table. You can imagine how I felt. I was gutted. As you might have guessed by now, normally I'm over the moon. But that day, I was gutted, John. I played football for the palace team. Left back. Slow but steady, with a left foot I've been told is pure magic. Mind you, he might just a bit of creep. I expect my revelations may come as a shock, and if it's made it easier for you to relate to my royal family, then I've succeeded with my initiative. As we approach another war, we do it shoulder to shoulder, one people, a classless society. You know, my life is no different from yours. Occasionally, I'm sure you encounter problems with your servants just as I do. Now, I wasn't going to mention this, in case you thought I was laying it on a bit thick, as if I was trying to be too humble. But now I believe you recognize just how sincere I am. It is a pretty horrifying tale, and something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, so be prepared for the worst. Are you ready? Oh, it's almost too terrible to recount. Well, when I was 12, I once had to mark out my own pony. Can you believe it? I thought I'd die. I lived on the edge for a few days, I can tell you. Oh, at one time or another, I have shared all your experiences. Come on a minute, darling. I shared all your nightmares, and I share all your hopes and wishes for the future. So if you're ever passing the palace, just dodge the guards and pop in for a cup of tea and gossip. We'll have so much to talk about, would we? I need the company.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we finalize this feast of phantasmagorical fun, this evening of enchantment and entertainment. We call upon our gifted gaggle of guys and gals to lead us into some old favourites. I invite you once again to join in. We start with Show Me the Way to Go Home.
Well, I'm happy when I'm happy, singing all the while. I ain't got nobody then to show me how to smile. When I've been out on the spree, toddling down the street, with this little melody, everyone I greet.
thinking goodbye about. I am fatigued and I wish to retire. I had a little drink about an hour ago, and it's gone straight to my cranium. I can't tell where was the rabbit. Your atmospheric pressure, you all things shouting this melody, indicate goodbye there.
Lost away and don't know where to roam. No, you can't just as special like the old time knockers, but you can find your way home. Any evening, any day, you'll find it all doing the Lambeth Walk. Oi! Every little Lambeth cow with his little Lambeth cow, you'll find it all doing the Lambeth Walk. Oi! Everything's free and easy, do as you damn well pleasing. Why don't you make your way there? Go there, stay there. Every little Lambeth cow, any evening, any day, you'll find them all doing the Lambeth Walk.
They say there's a trip ship just leaving Bombay, bound for our mighty shore. Heaven is laden with time expired men, bound for the land they adore. There's many an airman just finishing his time, there's many a tour signing on. You'll get no promotion this side of the ocean, so cheer up my lads, bless them all. Bless them all, bless them all, the long and the short and the tall. Bless all the sergeants and WO1s, bless all the corporals and their blinking sons, as we're saying goodbye to them all. As back to their billets they crawl. You'll get no promotion this side of the ocean, so cheer up my lads, bless them all.
They say if you work hard you'll get better pay. We've heard it all before. So clean up your buttons and polish your boots. Scrub out the barrack room floor. There's many a cook who has taken it in. Hook, line and sinker and all. You'll get no promotion this side of the ocean. So cheer up my lads, bless them all. Together,
Bless them all, bless them all, the long and the short and the tall. Bless all the sergeants and WO1s, bless all the corporals and their blinking sons, 'cause we're saying goodbye to them all. As back to their billets they crawl. You'll get no promotion this side of the ocean, so cheer up my lads, bless them all.